views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
Good morning, everybody. Andrew Perry from the Daily Reel, live in the MyTCN studios here in Brampton, Ontario. Today, I have a very special guest. Today, I have Ben Oosterveld, live from Edmonton, Alberta, right?
That's right. How's it going?
Beautiful, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on the show today. I know it's you're 2 hours behind, right?
Yeah. You said earlier it got up early. This is 8 o'clock. Is like I got my wheels turning already, so we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Beautiful. So Ben is an expert at helping real estate agents go from worker to real estate business owner. He is the master in launching. He is a master in launching and relaunching while eliminating the dreaded feast and famine cycle. Ben teaches simple business systems focused on world-class client experience rather than just traditional branding or goal setting. So thank you very much for coming on the show, as I mentioned. So walk us. What I like to do when I have guests on is I like to walk the audience through the beginning. So when did this all start for you? You're a real estate agent currently, correct?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I run a real estate team. Yeah.
Okay. So when did you get into real estate?
I was a real estate investor prior to being a real estate agent. So I bought and sold real estate for about 7 years as an agent. I mean, before I was an agent, and I became a business coach after the real estate market crash. And then what happened was I had to retool things because no one really wanted to invest in real estate during the economic crash. So I retooled myself, remade it into a business coach. And I realized there's a lot of real estate agents out there and that I dealt with as an investor that were like, honestly, like it was terrible service, a lot of it. And a lot of it was ego based. They'd show up in this beautiful car and beautiful suit. And then I'd buy a whack of properties and I wouldn't even get a thank you card or anything to be like, and I don't need to be wine and dine, but it was always one of those kind of like pain in my backs. Like I just thought, man, if I became an agent, I think they'd have to watch out because no one's doing world-class experience. And I can't say everybody, but I thought it would be an easy game to jump into. So I started coaching real estate agents. And I thought, you know what, how cool would it be if I coached real estate agents as a brand new agent myself? So I thought, I don't want to be the guy sitting on a big high pedestal. So I literally got my license and I said, I'm going to do what I'm going to teach live. So I convinced like 12 agents to work with me. I don't know how they listened to me at that time. I had no credibility other than being me. And 12 people have watched me launch real estate. And yeah, I think I just completely did what I thought I was going to do. And there's a huge hole in the market on service and mind-blowing experience. And most people just take it as a job. So
yeah,
it worked out.
You know what? I love that, man. And I didn't actually know that you were a coach first. So that's pretty amazing. And I think we as agents, there's so much room in this business to grow, and there's so many little things that we can tweak that make massive impacts. And I love what you just brought up about, you've been working with realtors and sometimes on multiple different occasions, and you weren't even getting a simple handwritten thank you card. So is that kind of the motto behind your coaching, behind your education, is essentially, trying to build that trust and build those relationships that lead into things like referrals and future business?
Yeah, if I said yes to that question, it just seems a little vanilla. Not your question, but that's how the industry sounds. Like
Yeah,
everyone
I know.
sounds the same way. Like, well, we got to build the trust. Then what we need to do is get the referrals, stay with your client. Like I get all those right answers, but are people actually doing it? So I think I did something just cut out here. Okay, we're good. We're good.
No, we
And
just switched
so my
back.
thinking was, how do I blow their freaking minds to the point where their heads pop off? They run around to all their friends and say, "Holy crap, who are you using? Because you're not going to want to use them. You're going to want to use Ben." And so, what activities do you have to do to create that reaction? That's my obsession. And so and honestly, like I'm not here to get anybody fired. Like that's not the goal. It never is the goal. And it's not, I want everyone to win. But if you have an experience so freaking good, like I had like 3 agents got fired in my first year. Some lady paid another agent to get out of the contract to hire me. And I'm not sitting here thinking, no, I'm the best. I'm just saying, the experience was so bad on the other side that it was so easy to create contrast. So yes is the answer. Build the trust, follow up, you know what I mean? And then get referrals. But I just take it maybe to a more extreme level, maybe.
Okay, so after you got your license and you started implementing your own initiatives, tell us kind of what you found out, and was it as easy as just building that trust with somebody?
You know what? It was within the first month I hired an assistant. And I think that's the hack. Is that most agents, because I was a business coach. I was coaching energy companies, videographers, a bunch of different. So I came as a business coach. So I looked at real estate. I'm like, I can out hire when everyone else is out hustling. And so I hired an assistant before I even needed one. And that gave me the ability to not worry about learning all the administration and all the shit that I'm terrible at. Am I allowed to say shit? Because I just said it twice.
Good to go.
So, okay, good. But so I think the first step was to make sure that I did what I was strong at, which is sales, marketing, communication, the mind-blowing experience. The thing is, I had to get all the heavy lifting off my plate first. So that made it very easy. I think imagine not doing any paperwork. Imagine not having to do all that stuff. Like that would be like real estate agents are like up till 2 a.m. when their family needs them. And that's what kills me. I have 5 kids and I've had a life where I've almost been divorced and I've almost had my kids weren't into me. And so real estate's very dangerous for family if you don't do it correctly. So that's the business owner mentality, is that why would we not hire out and have an assistant for $500 a month even? Like compared to what we make, it's very, very nominal. But so that was the first thing that gave me a massive advantage as an agent, because I could do twice as much work and still have a family while my assistant was doing all the stuff I hated.
Yeah, I totally get that, man. And you know what? When I got my first assistant, I may have got it a little too early, may have got it a little too late. I guess we'll never know, but it's worked out. And
But
the
you
thing
did
was,
it.
is when I first had her on, I had even managers coming up to me and saying, hey, man, it's maybe you want to start doing 30, 40, 50 deals yet before you
They always
start
put a number
hiring
to
other
it.
people
How many
on.
deals are you doing?
And it makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense, because exactly what you were saying, if you think about it as a business owner, I mean, sure, we all have hats we need to wear, but you don't see the guy who owns the restaurant filing his own taxes, or working
Exactly.
on HR initiatives or things like that, right? So I think as soon as you start, I guess, leveraging your time and your skills, is when you can start to grow as a business. So let's talk about that. So now you've got your assistant hired. How long was it until you started your team?
First year. So I had enough business. First year I had a guy on my team because, like, why not? Why not? First of all, I could leverage myself as a coach as well, right? So that was one advantage I did have, is like, look, join my team and it's got an advantage because I'm a coach, and I'm going to help you as well. So just on a note on building a team, the problem with even that question of like, how long till you got the team, most people are assuming that I had enough business to share. Well, that's the wrong thinking. The thinking is that's the wrong value proposition. You get to come on my team and you get to learn from me. I'm going to help you launch your own career. I'm going to put your name on the sign. I'm going to be second real estate agent. So not only do you get to be part of my growth and my education, my energy, Like, I'm not here to teach you how to, I'm here to teach you how to fish. I'm not here to just give you fish. Then I'm going to have a poverty mentality. Everyone just, where's my fish? Where's my deals? That's not the way to build a business. And most people are building a business saying, come to my team, I got you leads. And it's the wrong pitch.
Yeah, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. And I think if you're already thinking about how much can I teach this person, so eventually they'll go out and start their own team or their own business, because I mean, you're surrounding yourself with people who like to grow. I mean, when I started my team, we failed miserably because I had the whole wrong idea in my head about what the team was. And I loved how you talk about ego, and I think that's what it was for me. I think I wanted to start the team to, kind of pump my own tires, so to speak. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to get to know, you've written something in your bio here that's really triggering me to want to get to know your past a little bit and see where that kind of growth curve line was for you. So tune in. We'll be back after this commercial break.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. The large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see that anymore is because
the ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
Okay, and we're back. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. I'm live with my guest, Ben Oosterveld, business and human development coach, realtor and real estate team owner, one of the top teams in Western Canada. Welcome to the show, Ben. Again, I really appreciate you coming on. So before we went for commercial break, I was talking about how I wanted to bring up your past. I mean, because yes, the show is about real estate and entrepreneurialism, if I could say that. But it's also about getting to know the real you, the real stories, and hopefully somebody who's watching can relate it to their own business and life. So why don't you tell us, you didn't, let's just say out in the open, you went to rehab, and it was a consistent maybe environment that you're in that was kind of hindering your growth. Would you mind talking about that?
For sure. But first, before I jump into that, which I have no problem sharing, it's just interesting because we do that, right? Like we have a real estate show, and as real estate agents, we should probably talk about real estate. But you know what's crazy is nobody uses you because you're a real estate agent. They don't. They use you because you like the Toronto Maple Leafs. They use you because you're a fisherman, you're a hunter. They use you because you're a funny guy. They like the same food. And you know what? We all have a weirdness. We cut out our personal stories and our personal life and just keep it business. We become very bland. I don't believe connection is made that way. So I have no problem being me. And I think that's the biggest missing hole in real estate agents. They don't just be themselves. Just let people see who they are. We're also scared about, I guess maybe we drop the Mercedes. I don't know. Just gotta be ourselves and let people judge us and like us the way they want. So anyways, my background is I grew up in a really tough childhood environment. I started running away from home, started to, I found some people that liked me, just deeply lost in no self-value. My upbringing was not about self-value. It was more of an abusive environment, very tough childhood. And so, but I found some people that really accepted me, and they were drug addicts and other people that were rejected. And in some way, we still do that today. Is if you look around your circle, you'll find out where your personal value is by your friends. Like if you have people that are taking advantage of you, if you have a relationship you're in that doesn't make you feel good, I think at the end of the day, I think we attract ourselves. And in a weird way, I was just a deeply insecure kid. So I started running away from home when I was like 14 years old and maybe even 13. So I think it was 12 I started, to be honest. and just started being independent and doing drugs and dealing drugs and doing a little bit of petty crime. And I was off and on in the house. And I tried killing myself when I was 15. And I know that sounds pretty heavy, and it is, but I just was so desperately lost. I just didn't have any reason to live. I just wanted to die. And so I ended up, they threw me in the hospital. They threw me in an ambulance. They jammed a bunch of charcoal down my throat, and I was coming off just eating a whole whack of pills, and ended up, they threw me in a psychiatric hospital, and they locked me down for a while. So, a crazy story, I ended up breaking out of there, and I was on the news and everything, but that's another story. But long story short, though, I ended up, I was going to try to take my life again, and I ended up deciding, this little voice inside me says, you want to live. And so what I did was I went to this place called Teen Challenge, and I stayed there I checked myself in. I said, if this doesn't work, I'm going to die. So 365 days I spent on a ranch doing work detail, doing like classes, volunteering. It was an amazing program. And I came out, but I still was feeling that feeling of no value. Like, I definitely got clean. I felt a little bit more important. I got more value. But at the end of the day, I still was wrestling with self-worth and anger, and had a lot of personal stuff. So as real estate agents, we don't talk about the stuff that actually drives the machine. It's like the person behind the business is probably more important than the strategies at all. Because it's like, if you have a divorce happening, how's your real estate business? It's very simple. So I think this is something that I'm really glad to talk about on your show. So that's kind of the bit of the background there.
Well, I really appreciate you being so open and honest with me, and the audience, of course, because I think once you get to know what's really behind a person, behind a business, I think you begin to discover just it and appreciate really just how hard it is to climb out of that hole. And once it builds character, but once you get to know that and you discover that about a person, I think you can finally see what motivates them and drives them towards success. And you know that they've had that feeling of, selfishness, and the fact that they've been on the bottom. And I think it's very apparent that most people, especially people like yourself, they don't ever want to go back to that place again, right?
That's right. Well, I think we're a little lost in society, even how we're raising our kids and how we're trying to avoid pain. And I feel like we run from pain, and I get that we are survival mentality. But the thing is, I think there's a process that I go through that I build confidence. I become an overcomer. Like, if you have to overcome something really hard and you come out on top, you're strong. Like, you're confident. I think a lot of times we're not letting our kids struggle. Like, let them struggle, let them feel the pain a little bit. And if they can figure it out, if they can rise above what their struggle is, they did it. So the problem is, we always try to look for help outside of ourselves. I had to figure my shit out. And that's what, now I believe in me. Like, I feel like that's the missing factor when we're going through tough times, where I get it. I like to get help. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it comes down to my shoulders. I got to figure this out. I know the answers are in me. I know I'm going to bet on myself because I've overcome so much. So I think we need to embrace our challenges and realize that's how we become confident.
Yeah. So is when you're coaching realtors or business owners, is that something almost like an activity that you have them do, is to try to really embrace their past and face it, head on, so that they can be able to, grow as a person? Oh, Ben's coming back.
Just 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Where is it here? My plug-in came undone.
Hey, no problem.
Okay, we're back on track here. I was dimming out there. I was thinking my computer's dying out, so we're good.
Yeah, mine too.
So to answer.
So yeah, I mean, it's all about getting your the people you coach and realtors and business owners to face their past head on, right, and embrace it so that they can move forward and grow.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm pretty open and strong with myself. When it comes to someone else, it's really about where they're at. Like, you can't just we're dealing with their past, I think that's what's so cool about being a business and a real estate coach, is that the motivation for success and the motivation for a happy life really gives them the motivation to look at what's holding them back. And so it's not about just digging into the past, but when, not if, when you get yourself in the way, that's when we can have the breakthrough. So of course we're going to build strategies and do world-class experiences. We roll out the red carpet. We do all kinds of cool real estate stuff, but you will get yourself in the way. And that's when things happen. Like, that's when you can change a brokerage when you shouldn't. That's when you go buy a new car when deep down, your finances aren't there. Like, why are we doing the things that we do that hold us back? I've seen massive transformation dealing with the human character where let's say I've been teaching strategies that work. The problem is we're not getting the results we're getting. So what happens is we actually run into the human, and I'm going to ask some really tough, honest questions. And usually people let me do that. And once we get to the bottom of it, you see their business is double and triple. And I'm not exaggerating. We hold ourselves back so much. That's why I'm probably the only coach on the planet that's that's agent from within. Because no matter the best strategies in the world. Have you seen this website called Google? Like, they're all there. Why is everyone still struggling? Every single thing is free. So if we're not dealing with the human being behind the strategy, it just seems ridiculous. That's like building the best race car in the world, but you don't know how to drive a car.
Right. That makes total sense. And it's almost like stripping yourself down and taking the weight off your shoulders and understanding what's holding you back so that you can move forward. We're going to take another break. And when we get back, Ben, I want to talk to you about what you're doing. You've got a lot going on. I mean, you've got your own podcast as well, and you've got your coaching business. And I want to dig into that just a little bit when we come back.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
My name is Trish Curling, and I am an online coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher, and your new host of Shaping Life, which is all about understanding that we have the ability and the control to take charge of our health and wellness. But we can't do it alone, and I can't wait to sit down with the best in the industry. Please tune in every Friday at 1 p.m. live here on the TCN Network.
Okay, guys, we are back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Now, Ben, you offer a couple of different programs to help realtors and business owners grow their business, and like you say in your bio, it's not about them necessarily hitting number one, but just living a much better life overall and finding that balance. So you actually have an online course or an online academy, is that right?
Yeah. You have an online academy. So I started doing a lot of one-to-one coaching. Obviously, they can only do so many. My top level program is called Business from Within. So that's the first one, and that's a limited, very, very limited space. It's kind of the higher level program. That's 12 months minimum. It's 2 full personal development retreats, which it's like me coming into their life as a CEO, life coach, and a marketing coach. And I work with those people, and that's amazing, and that's the most satisfying work. The second best is Agent from Within. That's the academy. That's where we jump onto live coaching calls, 1 to 2 a month with a group. It's low cost. Right now, it's $199 a month. It's going to be going up in price. But what it is it's access to a private Facebook group where you can access me anytime. You also have a private podcast. Nobody gets it. It's over 70 hours of my training. It's got every single thing that I do in my real estate. You literally can have my entire business, every strategy, everything, full access to all of that. And that's all with video as well. Plus there's monthly reviews. And so what it is, it's a community, content, and access to me for a really low price. And so that's been really good. So I'm all in on that right now. I think it's going to be the best training for the price there is on the planet, to be honest, for real estate agents.
Okay. And so in these, Let me just ask you, what type of people or business owners are, becoming your clients essentially? I mean, where have they found themselves in their business? I'm sure there's a variety, but what would you say is the biggest factor that pushes somebody to come and hire somebody like yourself?
Well, okay, so the academy, there's going to be a few people. So people that are starting out, there's very little support. And there's also a lot of coaches not touching it because there's no money there. So there's a huge hole. Plus brokerages don't have the funds to really train, I find a lot of times, because they need to make sure their business goes too. I think there's a huge hole in the beginners training. The second person is someone that's just rocking and rolling and has no clue about systems. That's a huge thing. Someone that wants to build a team, someone that wants to hire an assistant. So it depends. Like I've created an academy where they can plug in exactly where they're at. And so that's why when they jump into the academy, there's 4-part course to take. It'll probably take an hour or two to do a full deep self-assessment on 4 areas: client acquisition, business systems, how's your world-class client experience, and how's your personal growth. So that's literally the fundamentals of everything I do, because client acquisition, you can't pay for nothing. You can't do anything without clients. The business systems, you'll never have a life. And then the biggest problem, hands down, that I see in this real estate business is that no one keeps their clients long terms. They're great at talking about it, but no one really does. Like if you did, every single real estate deal that you do, Andrew, it's from usually a guy or girl that had a real estate prior to you, an agent prior to you. This is a massive hole. If I was one piece of advice, I'd say is hire someone to remind you to follow up. And $20 a day, $20 a day will buy you $50,000. I guarantee you 20 to 100,000. How many deals right now have you not followed up on in the last year? Calculate the commissions and go, why am I not having someone 1 hour, $20 an hour, a reminder? That's called hacking your business, because in 10 years, let's say in 15 to 20 years, you got at least 1,000 transactions. Like what about 5% of that is referrals now? Well, hello, there's retirement. We have this business all so front loaded on finding clients that we forget that the number one thing is the long game. I'm coaching guys that are 15-year veterans, 20-year veterans in my course right now. They didn't keep track of their clients. Like it's probably the most important thing if you want to have a long-term real estate business. So there's all kinds of people that fit in. We actually do an assessment as they come in, and we give them recommendations on which content to have, and then we do live questions every month together to coach them. That's the academy.
That's awesome, man. And I love it. And are you treating the agent to agent referrals as somewhat of the same principles as you would referrals from past business and such?
I kind of treat my life the same way. So I want to, it's relationships. So it's not just business to me. I don't know, like even the fact, when I asked my wife to marry me, I got a beautiful restaurant. I asked her to marry me in the mountains, but what I did was I could have just said, here's some flowers. So what's missing in the industry is this world-class experience. This is something I've done in my life. And so what happens was my wife, we go to this beautiful restaurant, but beforehand I had a dozen roses, and I went and talked to the owner of the restaurant. I had all of them individually wrapped. I had a love letter with every single rose. So as the waiter came to the table, he was dropping off 1 rose, 2 roses, 3 roses, and every single time she'd open up and see a full love letter written. And by the end of the dinner, there was a 12 bouquet rose on the table. So what I'm trying to say is take a little bit of effort to blow the client's mind. So is it the same in real estate and yes, the answer is blow the freaking minds of someone that sends you business, of course, but don't just send them a gift card, something lame. Yeah. Thoughtfulness is the most powerful currency we have. Like imagine if I found out something about you, Andrew, and I sent you something and shipped it to you that nobody even knew about. Like I did some research, I talked to your team, and they're like, there's this one thing he can't find. And if I find that, how is our relationship going to be if I send that to you? You'll be like, Ben's the man. Ben, I love this guy. He's so thoughtful, because we're lacking connection so desperately in this world that if you can take a second and thank someone the right way with deep thoughtfulness, like a basket of what? Household goods? Good job. There's a 1% win. Like how you can't make couple of phone calls during your showings. You can ask someone, hey, what do you like? What do you do for fun? Now, interesting you are if you're asking someone else questions, which leads to the world-class experience. So yes, blow the minds of the people that give you referrals. I teach the same system on every single thing in life. It's relationship, it's thoughtfulness, it's extreme thoughtfulness.
You know what? I completely agree with you. I mean, you said earlier in the show you're not trying to get anybody fired. You might not be, but you might get me divorced if my wife has been tuning in. But no,
well,
I love
good,
that
man.
approach.
Take it to heart.
So
Blow her
I'm
mind.
actually one of the moderators of a group called Real Estate Hacks. I think you might actually be a part of the group. So
yeah, someone
one of the
just
things
tagged
how
me to join.
I've
yeah.
actually grown my business to, I think we're at basically close to 80% agent-to-agent referrals this year. So I do a lot of
No way, that's cool.
I do a lot of value props that I kind of offer not only my clients but also other realtors. But it all started from a simple post saying, "Hey, I can design this little social ad that you can put on your cover photo for Facebook." Was not expecting to get that much of a response, but we got over like 450 people emailing me their photos, their headshots, their background, their titles, everything like that. And, you know, I spent 4 days in a row just hammering out, cutting people out of the backgrounds of their photos, adding them to this social card, which, when you think about it, there's a lot of realtors out there who don't know anything about graphic design. And from there, what I did is not only did I take their photos, but I sent them back the transparent headshot. And then I did a webinar on how to use canva.com. Like for me, that's something very simple, other than the 4 days it took me to do everybody's. But for me, it was very easy. Right?
That's awesome. I love that.
But at the same time, I spent the time and I took the time to figure out that, hey, not everybody knows how to use this program. It's very simple to teach. And from there, 2 years later, I'm running at 80% agent-to-agent referrals. Right? So it's all about offering that.
Amazing. You're inspiring me, man. You're inspiring me. It's great. I love it. I love it. And to be honest with you, I was just talking to my team. I'm like, man, I got a pretty strong public image, and I don't push my team like Team Oosterveld as a referral center for all of Edmonton deals. And I get lots of referrals, but it's like, man, I got 6 guys like me. If you want to have your clients blown away, yes, you know what I mean? And I love the fact that you gave them such ridiculous value. You weren't like, hey, I'm a great referral source. Do you want to use me? Why? Like there was no reason, right? Love that, man. Good job.
I completely agree. You know what? This third segment is just about up. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get to know, we're going to ask you how others can get involved in your programs, and we'll see you in a couple of seconds. Okay, we are back for the fourth and final segment of the Daily Reel, live with Ben Oosterveld. Thank you very much again for coming on the show and doing this video call. I think this is our first time doing it in the studio, but it's great. It's great to be able to connect with people worldwide, nationwide, and thank you again for coming on. And so this last segment is essentially for our listeners and anybody who's watching here today to find out a little bit more about how they can get involved with your program. So what's the first step to connecting with Ben?
So it's kind of funny that you're saying this. My gut is like, I want to deliver you value. I want to deliver your audience value. Like it's like pitch time for Ben, and it's like, I think at the end of the day, I get it. Like obviously, I'm promoting my business and everything too, and it's always a little bit more uncomfortable to pitch my business. I think the people that lean in need to come in, and I have this organic kind of mentality. But honestly, like with when it comes to the agent from within, I think every single real estate should at least try it out, because it's a different flavor than anyone ever has had, to be honest with you. Like it's going to be a mixture of those four things are the most important things: client acquisition, business systems. The biggest hole is world-class client experience. And the other hole is that we don't work on ourselves. And that's where the Academy is this fully well-rounded real estate marketing, personal development experience. But the community is amazing. Like you're jumping on the private Facebook site, just the Facebook site alone with all the different things that are going on and all like-minded in this kind of mentality. Like most real estate coaches are like, hey, look, I'm going to make you a top producer, or I'm going to hit the next goal of finances. I think if you don't know who you are, what you want, you literally are like a boat without any kind of rudder. You're just going to run around and you just don't even know where you're going to go. I remember chasing money all the time. I chased money all the time. And what happened was, I remember my wife telling me the day she told us she wants to leave me. And I thought I was absolutely doing everything as a family man, completely sideswiped me. And I feel like this conversation is a place, the agent from within is the conversation to have these, so there's a place to have these kind of conversations. But the reality is there's also people that are coaching and they're just regurgitating every single thing they've ever heard before. Or they're saying, hey, this is how I did it. If you follow my system, you're going to be very successful. That's bullshit, because it's not even possible. Every human being is different. That's why this academy is a little bit tougher to niche out in new guys, old guys. If you're a human being and if you want to have an amazing life and you want to use real estate to pay for it, that's my guys. Now, if there's, I literally have, there's like, that's it. Like I can have hundreds of people in the academy, and we're about to put a big push out. So the price right now is $199. It is absolutely going up within the next week. So if anyone signs up now, they're going to save it, and I'm going to honor those pricings. The thing is though, the business from within. So business from within is the very close. If you're at a place where you can afford $1,000 a month and you fit into the demographic of someone that truly wants to work on themselves and their business, where I'm going to be in their life, there's literally 3 spots left. If you look at my social media, we just did a trip to Vancouver. It's life-changing. The results are insane. Like people are, I just had a guy that graduated the program out of Ontario just send me a message. He goes, Ben, I remember going on the retreat and I had to actually pull some money from my line of credit. Yeah. But today I'm already over 200,000. I'm number 1 in my office. Now his story was 90% of what we talked about was personal growth. His relationship that he shouldn't have been in, the job that he wouldn't quit, the poverty mentality around finances. These are the things that we worked out. And yes, he didn't make much profit in the program, but he's number 1 overall in his office right now. And I think it's over $200,000 at this point. And I'm super passionate about what we do, but I think it's about the people, and developing the people is the core, but also blow the clients' minds, keep them forever, understanding how to build a business that people talk about.
So
that's my thing.
I mean, so what would you say, a guy who's a top producer thinks his entire life, or a girl, his entire life is perfect. There's nowhere that he thinks that he can improve on. What would you say to somebody like that who's, maybe has reached out about one of your programs?
So a guy that thinks he's in good shape, you know what? I just have a conversation, to be honest. Like at the end of the day, there's always a way to go from an 8 to a 10. Okay. If anyone says they're a 10 out of 10, we got to find out where their blind spots are. That's all. And the thing is, if we ask people around them, maybe there's people around them. I'd probably say, go talk to the 10 closest people around you, and you ask them hard questions. Say, give me the real deal. What do I need to work on? Go after looking at where you're actually, so being more proactive than I'm screwed up, I need help. The guys that are doing good, I'm saying, how do you get from an 8 to 10? Are you really living the life that you literally love to live, or are you living someone else's life? So it's a conversation about getting so ridiculously real with where you're at. And there's nothing wrong with being in a good place, man. But there's always an 8 to a 10 move.
I love that. And I find, I love what you said about talking to your 10 closest friends or the people that you surrounded yourself with. And just say, hey, man, break it down for me. Where can I improve? What's our relationship like? I mean, because like you said, there's always room for improvement. So if you would, what's kind of the big difference between your $199 and then your $1,000? Is it just more of a interaction with you, more education? Is it, what's the big differences?
It's 1-to-1 with me, and you get 2 full retreats. And so that's the difference, is that I'll be working 1-to-1 phone calls with you. And then I also will, you're in the kind of a different private group as well. Become very close. This group is lifelong friends. And I'm literally in your world. Like, I know everything that's going on. I'm literally in your world. So when it comes to the academy, you get me once or twice a month with all my content and the community. For my business from within, you guys are my core guys. Like, you're the guys I'm helping. I'm personally involved in helping you become successful. I'm in the trenches with you. And so, and then the retreats I can't even explain it. Anyone that goes, it's hard to explain the transformation that happens personally, that then results in mega success in more holidays and more finances. So I think that kind of gives you a bit of an example, I think.
Absolutely. So what about the From Within podcast? Is that a separate podcast? That's for
So From Within is the bridge outside of real estate. I definitely do real estate conversations there, but it's the bridge, because this is where I do relationship coaching, I do business coaching, I interview some top amazing people. I do some business rants, but it's really a catalyst for your life, business, and relationships. And so it's kind of the full, like, if you want to know it's kind of like the full expression of myself. Versus just niching out in real estate. This is kind of the bridge to that. But I obviously touch on real estate a lot.
Wow, Steve Sims. He's fairly.
Steve Sims, Cameron Harrell, Philip McKernan. Steve's a buddy.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got your social links and everything like that. If for the people watching, where would you kind of push them towards? Your personal Facebook?
You know what? I'm kind of everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. That's my main things. LinkedIn, I'm starting to build out. My son, he's doing TikTok videos. So I'm doing some TikTok videos. I'm messing around with it. I think social media can be the greatest distraction of our entire life as real estate agents. And it's probably one of the biggest distractions, hands down. 1 out of every 100 do it well. The other 99 are wasting time. And so I just be very careful with that. Just a little warning, because you don't need. I didn't even have a website or any social media when I made $500,000 almost my first year. It really, the fundamentals of real estate is relationship. Social media is a very long game. You got to look at it as long game, and you still got to pay the bills. So that's very important. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. But you can get me on Facebook, social media, and Instagram are my 2 main ones, I think.
Love it, Ben. I really appreciate you coming on. As I mentioned, guys, if you're watching this video or if you're listening to the podcast, we have all of Ben's links in the description. Go check him out. I know that you won't be disappointed. Reach out to him. See if there's something that he can offer you in terms of growing your business. Ben, thank you very much for coming on, my man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. Andrew, you're a good dude. Thanks so much.
Okay, man. See you next week, guys. Thank you very much. I feel like I'm an anchorman, at the end when the credits are rolling.
I know, just that moment of silence. Yeah, totally. Just looking, reading.